So our monthly theme is around sustainability, and it's season sustainable. And we had 2 live expert conversations, which will live in our membership space. And one was with Anya Heinmarch, which just went live today, Evelyn. So you can now watch the full interview. And Anya is a fashion designer. She's also very, very, feels very strongly around sustainability and really champions sustainability. So she recently came out with a fully biodegradable collection, and she's also just launched a universal bag, which is launching in British grocery stores, so Sainsbury and Waitrose, as a way to sort of champion a longer sustainable bag rather than plastic shopping bags and even the bags for life. So Anya did a talk, and then I also have something launching next week with Kwofang Yang O'Connor, who is also a tribe member, who does a whole bit on seasonal and sustainable entertaining. So she talks through different tips on how to create a sustainable party, or just entertaining for, one other person, how you can make even your entertaining much more sustainable by using things within your home, by being a little bit more crafty. So it's relevant for the holiday season, but not necessarily just for Christmas. And that will go live next week. And then this workshop, it's all about sustaining yourself. So it's not just about sustainability in terms of the planet. Like, we also need to be looking after ourselves and making sure that we are set up to manage whatever is put in front of us. And so this session, what we're going to work on is do a bit of breath work, just to create a bit of balance between both our yin and yang side of the body. So our left side is our yin side, our right side is yang. Yin is more feminine and the yang is more masculine. And we'll do alternate nostril breathing. And then we are going to move into a short mindfulness-based meditation, just to get you a little bit present, get you clear. And then we'll do an exercise that I love, and I think we all should do it actually much more frequently. It's around your drainers and sustainers, and it's a way to just identify what fills you up, what depletes you, and noticing if they're in balance, great. If they're not in balance, are the drainers taking over from the sustainers? And if they are, then how can we make sure that we're trying to balance them out? Because what happens when we become a little bit off balance, and you start to notice, maybe especially this time of year, you start to notice maybe you're feeling a little bit more run down, the holidays can be a little bit stressful, you've got other stuff going on, we're just busy lives just seem to happen, everything seems to pile up. And even though the holidays can be an exciting time, it can also be very draining. But what happens is, for most of us who are hardworking, conscientious people, we tend to say no to the things that we should be saying yes to, and yes to the things we should say no to. So we put others in front of us and forget to, nourish our own bodies, nourish our minds, and just practice a little bit of self-care, which is not necessarily pampering, it's sort of just your daily maintenance. So what happens is we can end up going into a bit of an exhaustion funnel. And just imagine like a spiral, and you sort of have this full life up top, and you've got your work and your play and, relationships, and everything is full, and you're giving the right amount of time to all those things. But then slowly you start to cut things out that are meaningful to you. And it comes down to like this point in the funnel where all that's left is you doing the things that you have to do. And that's when your drainers are overtaking your sustainers. So what we'll do in the exercise is identify what the sustainers are, the things that fill you up, identify the things that drain you, and just do a bit of a check to make sure that they're in balance. And if they're not, then identify how you can start replacing drainers with sustainers. If that makes sense. But we'll start first with breath work. We'll start just by getting grounded. So we'll do alternate nostril breathing. I'm not sure if either of you have done this in the past. You can do it using your hands or just imagining. So I'll explain both ways. So, you can either do this lying down or seated. I'm seated with a little bit of support behind me and my seat bones are lifted. If you have a chair, you could sit in a chair, or you can just sit on the ground, or again, you could lie. So what we'll do is we'll take a few clearing breaths, and then we'll start by breathing in the left side, breathing out the right side, breathing in the right side and out the left side. You could do this just by imagining the breath going in and going out, or you can use your right hand. So if you use your right hand, what you'll do is use your right thumb as sort of the plug for the right side. And then you use the middle finger and the ring finger for the left side. And you alternate between plugging each side. And you just want to practice a little bit, just noticing how it feels. It can be a little bit awkward at first with the hands and the placement of the fingers. You don't want to plug too hard. So you're not pressing down to really shove it closed. It's just a gentle close on the right nostril, and then a gentle close on the left nostril. If you find it's easier to use other fingers, then use other fingers. That's totally fine. Traditional is sort of pinky and ring finger. I find it easier with my third finger and my ring finger. So I go back and forth. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. So let's start. And then I'll lead you right from the from the breath work into the meditation. And then we'll do the exercise. Okay. So start just by shutting your eyes. And just begin to notice your breath, not trying to change it, not trying to control it at first, just simply connecting with the inhales and the exhales. You might even want to place your hand on your belly, your hand on your chest, just starting to notice the rise and the fall of each inhale, each exhale. And now let's take a full breath in together. So breathing in from the lower belly into the chest, all the way up to the crown of the head. And then open the mouth and exhale. Clear it out. And at the end, it's like squeezing every last drop of air out. And then one more just like that. Breathe in fully and deeply, all the way up, crown of the head. Little pause at the top. And then open the mouth, sigh it out. Okay, we're going to move into our alternate nostril breathing. So you can take your right hand, plug the right side of your nose, and breathe in the left. Plug the left and breathe out the right for 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in the right side, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then breathe out the left side, 4, 3, 2, 1. Breathe in the left, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out the right, 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in the right. Breathe out the left. Breathe in the left. Out the right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Inhale left. Exhale right. Inhale right. Exhale left. Just continue on even inhales, even exhales. And if you notice any tension, try to relax the shoulders, Soften the face. You can use the 4 count, or you can extend the count a little bit longer. Let the eyes be soft, jaw be soft. Even relax the pelvic floor. Alternate nostril breathing, we're balancing out the yin and yang, our masculine and feminine, and balancing out the energy on each side of our body, and even clearing the central channel. And we'll do a few more rounds. And do one more full round. And then you end on the exhale out the left. And when you've done that, you just place both hands down on your lap. And let the breath be natural. Just taking that moment to pause right now after a few minutes of breath work, just noticing how your physical body feels, and also checking in with your mental body. If you need to make any movements to your posture, you can do it. Just make sure you move mindfully so that you can be here comfortable for the next few moments of our meditation. Seated with dignity and also grace. And there's nowhere else to be, nothing else to do. This is your time, this is your space. And you've gifted yourself this hour to focus on you. Give yourself a little bit of self-care and give yourself some compassion. Allow the whole body to be soft. So if you notice tension in any part of your body, I invite you to send the breath to that location. Envisioning the breath moving towards wherever there's tightness. And let the breath just soften into that space. And now let's use the breath as your meditation guide for this practice. And the breath always present, always moving and flowing, and something that you can always come back to. So place your attention on the breath and the sensation of each inhale. Maybe you feel it as the air enters the nostrils, or the rise of your chest, expansion of your belly. Wherever you feel it most prominent, you just keep that as your focal point. And with each breath in, you connect with the sensation of the inhale. You experience the breath moving throughout your body. And then the exhale happens and you release. And then a whole new breath cycle starts. You feel the sensation. The breath moves throughout the body, doing its work, nourishing you in every way you need. And then with the exhale, you release what's not needed. Bad energy, negativity, toxic thoughts. And then this whole new breath cycle happens. And each breath cycle is like a mini cycle of life. You're breathing in nourishment, love, compassion, kindness. And you're breathing out negativity, anything that's not needed, anything that needs to clear. And you just keep your focus on the breath, experiencing it fully. If at any point you notice your mind's wandering, you just gently direct it back to the breath. No judgment, no forcing, no striving. Just simply acknowledging that you got off course. And you come back to the sensation of the inhale. Experiencing the breath move throughout your body. And then you let go. What other reason could there be? Life is always too short. We'll never be able to see everything we wanted to see, do all the things we wanted to do, or achieve all the successes we thought so important. But to arrive at a quiet mind and a serene spirit is the supreme accomplishment. If we do this, we have done it all. Do what you can each day. Enjoy your goals and plans, but the cultivation of your spirit is your greatest task. What other reason could there be for the life you have been given? Wherever you're at, just invite a bit of extra kindness and invite a bit of extra compassion into the final few minutes of the practice. Opening your heart to yourself, opening your heart to others. And start to notice this breath. And start to come back to the sensation of your physical body. Getting a sense of the ground beneath you. Get a sense of your hands touching your lap. Your spine holding you upright and alert. And we all have such busy lives, busy minds, taking us off in other places and endless lists of things that need to get done. But this is your only moment. This is the only breath that matters. And with each practice, we're training ourselves to come back to right here and right now. Training ourselves to arrive at that quiet mind. And whenever you're ready, you just gently begin to open the eyes and take a moment to pause. Maybe you want to take a stretch, take a few neck rolls, whatever your body needs right now, whatever the physical body needs right now. Okay, well, hopefully you feel a little bit more grounded, feel balanced. We're gonna go into this exercise now, and I should have said this before, but hopefully you have a piece of paper and a pen nearby that you can get, because you just need paper and a pen. That's it. And what we're doing is a great mindfulness-based exercise that's all about identifying what fills you up and what sucks you dry. And we all have things in our life that are not, that we put priority on, but are not necessarily what we really want to be doing. And they're things that we can't necessarily just say, we're never going to have that again. We're never going to do that again. there will always be some things that we have to do, but they do drain us. But what we want to make sure is that the things that are meaningful and purposeful in our lives take precedence over those things that are draining, or at least they're in check. And sometimes, the drainers will start to rise and the sustainers will start to fall, but we never want them so out of balance that the drainers are really taking over everything and you don't have any time for the things that make you happy or fill you up. But you don't know that's happening unless you actually know what it is that fills you up. So the first part of this exercise is making a list of all of your sustainers in your life. So things that you love to do, people you love to spend time with, parts of your work or your daily life that you really feel committed to. Anything. It could be something small. It could be something big. It could be your morning coffee. It could be a walk outside. It could be specific people in your life that really, really put a smile on your face. And I want you to we'll start with 5 minutes to just write down as many things that come to mind that really fulfill you. And then this also helps us get in touch with our values. So you consider family, you consider friends. For me, some of the things on my list would be like my morning coffee would definitely be on there. Spending time with my children would be on there. But also then like taking a walk with my dog, putting my feet in the sand. So my yoga.
Now you can.
Now I can because I live by the sea outside of Lisbon. Cooking might be on there if you enjoy cooking.
It is definitely. And for Paola too, she loves cooking.
Oh, nice. Yeah, and just keep it coming. You don't have to be prescriptive about it. I love it. You guys are like really getting your list down. So we'll do another minute. sure you could keep adding to this list. And you could definitely keep adding to it, but we're going to move on to the second part. Unless, Evelyn, I feel like you need more time.
No, that's okay. I
am. So the next part is really thinking about our drainers. So you've got your sustainers, those things that make you happy, that fill you up, that are meaningful. And then on the flip side, when you think about drainers, like you think about a drain pipe, it's like, what are the things that really suck the energy from you? What do you not enjoy doing? What do you have on your day-to-day that you're thinking, oh my God, I wish I didn't have to do that? And again, they could be big or they could be small. It could be certain people. No one is actually going to read this, so you don't need to worry about anyone seeing this. Or if there's certain people, family members, sometimes they're like, oh, that's a little challenging. So it's just writing down. I'll give you again 5 minutes, just doing that practice of writing down what it is that is draining in your life. Some of the things they have to get done. I mean, for me, admin is like the bane of my existence. My husband's great at doing admin, but admin, it's like one of those things I want to put it off, put it off, put it off.
Me too.
Hence my taxes are late every year.
I admit, but I don't have a husband for it.
I'll take another minute or so. And you just want it to be like getting as many things down as possible. Okay. So now I want you to take a look at your sustainers, so the things that fill you up, and just see if there's anything on there that you're not able to prioritize or not able to put more attention on because of your circumstances, personal circumstances, physical circumstances, life situation. So is there anything that you're that has been falling by the wayside that you really love to do just because you think it's not fitting into the schedule right now? So for example, if you love cooking, as all of us do you feel like you have a really busy schedule so you haven't been able to do cooking for friends or entertaining in a certain way that you would normally like to because you've got this busy schedule? And then you try to think, okay, well, what's the workaround? Because there's so many things that it's not really all or nothing. And in our heads, we almost think it's all or nothing. Well, I haven't been able to do that because I'm just so busy. When actually, maybe in this case, if it was a cooking thing, maybe you could identify one night every month to organize a big meal for friends and do the cooking that you love to do. So it's just taking that little bit of time, looking through the sustainers and seeing, is there a workaround to prioritize those a bit more so they get higher on your list? And even considering, if there's something and you have a physical ailment, you're not able to do something, like if you had a broken leg and you couldn't go running, can you get creative even in that sense? Like, how could you get that hit of whatever the endorphin hit without actually going running? Is there something else you do? So you just really have to be creative and think outside the box here of how you're able to fulfill that that desire and what that specific sustainer gives you if you're not able to do it. Okay. Now the next step is looking at our drainers. So what on that list are you able to reduce? Is there anything on that list that you're putting too much attention on and actually you could actually reduce the amount of time you're putting on it or just take it out completely? And with that said, obviously there's a lot of things you can't take out completely, but just simply reducing it by a little could have a big impact. For example, you have to drive to work. This is a complete random situation, but you have to drive to work and you hate long distance driving, but your drive to work always takes an hour. Could you split it up and have a coffee break in the middle? Like just thinking about little ways that might make something, a drainer, a little more bearable. Another good example is like, someone frustrates you, or every time you're in front of them, you start to tense up. can you do like a 60-second breathing exercise to just calm you down, get you focused, get you a little bit more resilient to how they make you feel. And again, it's that idea of just, we have control over how we act and how we react. And so are there things that you can do so it's not, you're being more proactive rather than reactive to things? Okay, so the next step, and if you need more time, you can always go back to this to complete, because it is a really good activity. Just really look at each different sustainer, each different drainer, and see how you can make one more and make one less. But the next step of this is looking at your list of sustainers and identifying the top 5, the 5 that you're like, those are the things that really put a smile on my face. They make me so happy. If they're not in my life, it's like, oh, it just doesn't feel as complete. So which are the top 5? And by the way, these might change from month to month or year to year. That's fine. That's why it's good to do this exercise over and over. So what are the top 5 that fill you up right now? And the same with the drainers, the 5 most draining activity / people / things in your life. And these top 5 sustainers, these bottom 5 drainers, these are the things that you want to pay attention to. You want to make sure that you bring mindfulness into your daily life so that you are aware of these 10 in particular. The sustainers should be the ones that you're really conscious about, that you're making time, you're prioritizing. The drainers are the ones that you want to make sure that you're trying to reduce as much as possible. So you've got your list of 5 and 5. And then the final bit of this is just writing them and making sure they're really clear. In particular, the top 5 sustainers, having it very visible. That could be on an app, it could be on Post-its at your computer, but those 5 things should be very prevalent in your view of wherever you spend the most amount of time, so that you remember that those are the things that you need to focus on. And when you're starting to feel a little bit run down, that you make sure that those things are in your life. And even could be an opportunity to create a little bit of accountability with one another, with our Facebook group. These are the 5 things that we need to make sure. Maybe I'll actually put that into the Facebook group. What are the top 5 sustainers for everyone, that those things that fill them up, and making sure that we hold each other accountable to incorporating them in our daily, weekly, monthly life, whatever is the most relevant for that specific thing. So this activity is something that you could do on your own. You could do it in 10 minutes. You can do it in an hour. It's all about how much time you have to actually spend on it. But if you start doing it a little bit more frequently, you do it, say, once a quarter, 4 times a year, you're really keeping in check with where you're at, and you're making sure that you're incorporating things that really will sustain you for the long term. And coming from someone that did go through a bit of a burnout, it sort of creeps up on you, and it creeps up on you in a way that you just start to feel a little bit flat, but nothing's so off that you don't really pay attention to it. It's not like there's all of a sudden this big moment of like everything comes crashing down, but it's slowly by little, you're sort of going down. That's why it's a funnel. It's like this spiral down slowly, so to get to this point where it's like, oh, and sometimes it's a little bit too late. Fortunately for me, it wasn't too late. I did get to a point where I was feeling like just flat on everything, and I had an immune issue, and that's when I realized, okay, something's wrong. But we don't need to get there if we actually do this check-in, and we're aware, and we stay aware of, where we're at on an everyday basis. And we incorporate things like this, connecting with one another, even on Zoom, connecting with people to do your yoga practice, do your meditation, whatever it is that you need to do to stay happy, healthy, present.
Definitely.